it goes. You in this time?
Yeah, it kicked me out the first time, but I'm back.
All right, awesome.
How's it going, man?
Good, man. How's life?
Oh, not too bad. Trying to catch up on a little bit of energy today. I feel wiped after the weekend, but...
Oh, yeah? Is there any specific reason why you feel wiped after that weekend?
Oh, it's funny you should ask. I was at Emerald City Comic-Con here in Seattle. Dude, it was awesome. I didn't table or anything, as you know, but man, it was so much fun. Overwhelming.
Yeah, I'm still really jealous of it.
Dude, it was I don't know, I got whiplash walking through Artist Alley, just, it's that guy. It was pretty awesome.
Man, I never realized how many dudes table that until, like, it was my entire feed last week, like,
I know.
On the weekend. I was like, oh my gosh, he has a booth there?
I know, it's like I woke up and my Instagram feed came to life.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It was weird, because, yeah, a lot of them weren't, like, I was going through trying to really research who was going to be there and plan some stuff, and there's a lot more impromptu stuff than I realized, and people who just sort of showed up and would be at this person's table, or I'm not exactly sure, they just maybe can't afford to literally put everybody on. I mean, I'm not sure, but yeah, it was pretty insane.
Yeah, man, that's awesome.
So how's your recuperation since Planet?
So, real quick, I'm in my basement and my heater just clicked on. Can you hear that? Is that like annoying white noise?
No, not really. It sounded like you suddenly started talking louder, but I can't really hear anything else.
All right, perfect. All right, then. So, yeah, man, my tabling recently, right, at Planet, it was awesome, dude.
I'd like to hear about it, for sure.
It was really cool. Day one was full of a lot of dudes coming back, like, repeat dudes coming back to just come by the table and say hi.
Like customers that you've already had, or people that have...
Yeah, a lot of that kind of stuff. It's still weird since we've only done these for, like this, I guess this is year 3 for Planet for us, or for me. And like representing, I'd rather be drawing, but it's still weird when someone comes by and they're like, had to make sure I said hi to you first kind of thing. Like, yeah, it's still a pretty crazy experience.
Man, I can't wait to get back into it. I'm jealous you're getting all this awesome experience, but I'm really happy for you and anxious to learn from.
All right, man, hold on one second. I gotta click this.
You're fine.
All right, I'm back on it. Let's do this thing. So, it was awesome. It was one of those things where, like, it felt like I was an experienced person finally. Like, we had dudes who were next to us who weren't super mega experienced at it. They said they'd done, like, small cons and stuff like that, but this is their first time, like, jumping into the big game kind of thing.
Yeah, and legit.
Yeah, and it was almost weird. It was like giving them advice. Like I was the...
You're like, wait, what's happening here?
Yeah. Super cool feeling to think that I'm the experienced dude.
So what was some of the advice that you gave those folks?
Huge one, which I always see. I'll see dudes who seem like they're super experienced. Like, their art is awesome. It's amazing. But, like, they're just, like, sitting down, having a pity party the whole week.
Like,
yeah, that's true.
Anybody come up to me and ask me questions?
Yeah. They're like, oh, I'm not doing super well today. And you see them, like, hiding behind their sketchbook. And you're like, well, I know why, dude. Like, I barely even felt like approaching you. Like, like, looking approachable and, like, not, like, what you're doing is more important than their business kind of thing.
Yeah. Like, you don't want to disturb them.
Yeah, exactly. It was like, and I get that feeling, right? Like, that some people already see an artist and think, like, how do they do that thing? I can never do that thing. And then you see a dude in their sketchbook, like, and you're like, oh, I better not mess up that guy's flow. Like, what would happen if I said hi to him, but he was in the middle of something really important?
So to all non-artists out there going to cons, don't be afraid to go up and talk to people.
Yeah, right? There's the other half of it.
Look at stuff, even if you don't have money to buy it. Like,
right? And that's another thing, too, is look like you care to have a conversation with other people, even if they're not buying, because you should.
Yeah.
But I'd say that's a huge mistake. Is like, I've definitely felt that attitude too from talking to other people, like sort of the if you're not buying, then you're not worth my time kind of thing.
Yeah, I feel like, and I hope that that's disappearing a little bit more, like that attitude. I feel like I don't see it as often. But yeah, sometimes you're like, okay, and you go to walk away and you see somebody just sort of sink, and you're like, man, I can't buy everything. I just want to look. But it doesn't seem to happen as often as it once did.
Yeah, definitely.
I think with the internet and with the ability to like buy stuff again so easily and to take a card and actually start following somebody, it's worth it more to just like keep the experience positive for somebody who came by just for a second than just dismiss them. Because like people really do go home with those cards and start looking at stuff and start following you, and you never know.
Yeah, and then like if you leave that conversation with the bad vibes, then they're definitely not going to go spend some time to follow you.
Is made.
Exactly. So yeah, it was just really cool, just like seeing dudes again. One of the dudes that he usually ends up watching my videos and stuff. I can't tell if he's on right now, but he just random fan who'd messaged me, and now I feel like we got a pretty cool relationship going on. But he helped me watch the table on Friday. Just complete random. It was just like, hey, if you need some help on any days, just let me know. And I was like, actually, I don't have anyone helping me Friday.
That's way cool.
And so I feel like that was cool for him too, probably. He probably thought it was freaking fantastic to get to hang out and behind the table kind of thing.
I think that's pretty awesome.
But yeah, in terms of just how well I did too, like best year so far. I look forward to doing it again and doing more of that stuff. I think I don't want to get into too much of it right now because I plan on writing up a little article for the website, kind of like instead of just what do we do, kind of an advice article kind of thing.
Very cool. Some do's
kind of talking about my experience and what I experienced in the past and things I want to do and not do. One thing I do want to talk about is sort of like anyone who's been following sort of the channel and my stuff has noticed that like I talked about, I'm going to reformat a lot of my prints. I'm going to stop printing old prints and start kind of keeping things a little bit cleaner. That's like a huge thing. I realized from a friend of mine, Mr. Rao Art, that his menu is just like, it's clean, it's easy. He has like 3 price points out on his table, and I feel like that's huge. It's like I sometimes I have too much different stuff. Like I used to make those stickers. I used to make those small prints, big prints. Like everything was all over the place. And it'd be like when someone asks like, "How much is that?" You'd be like, "Well, it's 10 for this unless you do that, and then it's 4 and 5 and 6 if you add and if you're standing on your head, then it costs a little. It's like I was all over the place with stuff like that. And so I realized that if I can simplify it and kind of just make it like I got one size prints, I got one or two sizes originals. Like, all right, pricing is done. Now we can just talk. Like, come over to my table and hang. Let's just talk.
That's cool. I like that idea. That makes good sense to me. Keep that conversation short and sweet. Don't end up sounding as much like a salesman or.
I don't have to focus on that at that point. I just get to talk to dudes about my art and get stoked together about the weekend.
So when he's mentioned before, like talking with people, even if they're not like buying your art and stuff like that, what do you mean by that when you are behind your table? Like how are you starting conversations with folks?
Usually I look at what's in their hands and I'm like, they picked up a print or a comic or something I love, and I'm automatically like, sweet. Or like, a lot of times I find artists too that way. Like I'm like, wait, where did you see that? Like, who's that artist? That's awesome. Like I'm like, well, why are you even buying from me if you already bought that thing? That thing is sweet. Like that kind of thing. I have that feeling all the time. You see some awesome little piece or something, and you're like, dude, you're at the wrong booth. Go back to that guy and give him more money.
That's a cool approach. Just because even the artists are there because they're fans of comics, so it is
right. Yeah, exactly.
Connect on that level first, even just as 2 fans of something, and then you're starting off kind of as buddies, not as like I'm behind the table, you're in front of the table.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Yeah, I definitely view the person on the other side of the table as equal to me, since I used to be that person for so long, kind of thing. Nothing. The only thing that makes me more special is I decided to spend my money on this table.
Right. And you know the crazy thing, even like going down, Emerald City or whatnot, and seeing these folks who are, winning Eisners, and like you're hearing them like wheel and deal with other creators while they're there, like formulating new plans. Like 99% of them were still just super cool, like to just talk about comics, like making them, and like saying, like they would see stuff in my hand and be like, "Oh, I love Black Science. I tried to color on that one, but I was busy, coloring Paper Girls." You're like, "Oh my god!" But yeah, you're still just connect. I don't know. That's why I like this community so much.
Yeah, it's definitely buy the artist for the artist kind of thing.
Yeah. Like,
and then
not really not a fan of it.
Ace is also taking credit for some of the business there too.
Who's that?
He stands in front of our table and he yells at people to come buy from us.
Well, that's pretty awesome. Thank you. That's never bad.
Usually he chases people off and we have to apologize for him later.
But it at least gets the conversation started.
Yeah, just teasing. Yeah, he's one of our coming backers. He's one of the dudes I was giving props to. He always comes and says something awesome about what I'm working on.
Very cool. Well, that's pretty awesome. I don't know, that's kind of the point, like why we do it and why cons specifically are fun and engaging, is to start relationships. Like, it's not just go and how much money can I get. Obviously, money is a cool thing to make, but everyone talks about the experience at con is more formulating relationships. People saying you're fan.
Oh yeah.
Hey, I keep seeing you here. You are part of this. Whether they're a fan or another artist.
Yeah, that's definitely like a cool thing too that I've noticed is like you start to like notice people in the crowd, like you really do. They kind of like you're like, dude, hold on, have you bought something from me before? Or I just see you like walk by every year because you always come to these too. Like that's kind of a cool thing.
Cool sense of community, that's for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, which is another reason why I'm looking to branch out, and it's just never, man, the cons in this area never end up seeming to be in a time that I'm looking for it. It's like, oh my gosh, like I want to do that con. Oh, just kidding, it's the same time as that other one you committed to. Or, oh no, just kidding, that one's like way too far away and stuff like that. But that's definitely my next plan, is finding ways to branch out and not just do these two that I always do.
Yeah, I'm kind of feeling that same way, especially with how like huge and overwhelming like Emerald was, as I can really see the benefit of doing some smaller things for the same reason of like forming relationships with fans as well as other artists. Because a 4-day con, man, that it was a bit.
Yeah, that's insane. I did not know it was a 4-day con. When you were like, I'll be here since Thursday, I was like, what?
And like the artists, they were all like still really cool by the end day, but some were like, I'm starting to lose my voice, and yeah, I'm just kind of run down, and we got to catch the plane right after this. And they're like, 4 days is definitely longer in real life than on paper.
Yeah.
But I mean, nothing bad. Yeah. You can tell they're having fun. And for anybody ever going there, I'm just gonna throw this out real quick because I think it's good info. If you're an artist and you're going to Emerald City Comic Con, all of the artists go and hang out at the Sheridan bar after it, like each night, to like hang out and socialize, and they call it BarCon, and it's almost something that like these folks like really look forward to it, and it's Artist Alley moves to the bar and starts hanging out.
That's hilarious.
Socializing and talking, and a couple, I went down a couple times, and not a whole lot, but got to chat a little bit with folks, and one guy invited me down, so I went over and I walked over. He goes, "Hey, this is, Chad," and I'm out. We were just talking about how crazy it is living in LA. And I'm like, man, that must be crazy. Yeah, like I hear you. It's tough. I don't know what's going on, but anyway, like those are the things to go check out and just sort of insert yourself into them. Just like, I don't know, if you're tabling at a con, it's uncomfortable and weird, but go say hi.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's hilarious. BarCon, I love that. I wonder if that's just like a general term that like all the different big cons, they like just wherever you meet afterwards.
I don't know. I just saw people referring to it like on Twitter and stuff like that. And when I walked, like, holy crap! Like they were all there.
Ace has invited me to Denver. Ace, when's Denver?
I'm waiting for somebody to shout back.
Yeah, I got a whole bunch of people making comments. I was trying to make sure we weren't ignoring them.
Yeah, I get bad about that. The way my thing kind of holds my phone, it sort of covers up part of that.
Yeah, I have to awkwardly turn my neck and look up to see him. June-ish. Ooh, June-ish. Oh, man, I actually just bought a table for a June con. I'll have to look into that. I'll get back with you, Ace. I'll have to look at what's going down for me there.
So, back to that. What con is that?
I got this random email about a month ago from a dude, Lee Summit. I'm going to start doing like a gaming thing, like a comic, like miniature con. It's just like one day.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and I jumped on that. I was like, one day cannot go wrong, I feel like.
Yeah, that's an experience that you just do. Like, I don't know,
Yeah.
it's the first time. I'm not like, just go check it out.
Yeah, exactly. Just go check it out, see what happens. That goes back to what you were saying too. I was talking about this earlier today with a friend. It's just like jump into an experience for the experience of it. I'm not thinking about any kind of what might happen from this or what I'm going to make for it. I'm just going to enjoy another great weekend with some nerds and have my art there.
Heck yeah. That's the way to go. Go into it with excitement.
Yeah, definitely. Which I am. I'm excited to have found another local one that I can jump on. But yeah, it's June 16th. It's a Saturday. And it is one day in the Summit. So anyone who's my local fans, I'm going to start posting about that probably next month. I like what's going on here. I just started kind of fiddling with this, and I really like it.
It's pretty gnarly, man.
So,
the vaguely like human teeth set, it looks like.
Yes, I'm really excited about that. I have this really cool idea for my comic, which I haven't shared a lot of the details of that with a lot of people, but I know you know a lot about it, so I'll vaguely mention it too, and anyone watching can be stoked about that. But you know how I've got this kind of weird robot junk suit dumping world thing going on? Mm-hmm. I had this idea that, since that part is so mechanical, maybe their weapons or their guns or their swords have weird human organic qualities to them.
Ew, gross. That's cool.
Yeah, like eyeballs on the guns and mouths on their swords, and just I kind of just get weird with it and see what happens.
They're decorating with organic pieces where our weaponry is so mechanical and efficient. Yeah,
exactly. So instead of what you would imagine being mechanical is more organic for them.
Weird.
Yeah, it's just a thing I'm going to play with. Since I'm on my originals only month here, I'm just really playing with my ideas, pushing my boundaries, see what happens.
Very cool, man. Is that a goal where you're, for a con or just in general, just really wanting to get...
It's just my general goal. I just, a lot of my return fans, the first thing they wanted to talk about was my original stuff. A lot of them have bought Apollo.
Yeah.
And stuff like that, and they're like, yeah, we got any other cool your own stuff? And I realized I only made 1 or 2 new of my own stuff, and I'd gotten caught up in a lot of the fan stuff, because I love doing that so much. And then I was like, man, I don't really have a bunch of cool original stuff to talk to you about. And they were like, dude, bummer. So I was like, dude, I gotta get on that. I've got so many ideas in my head, and I just never get to them because I always end up drawing something else. So yeah,
I'm excited to see that.
And then since robots and samurai and weird knights and stuff is everything that I draw, I'm smart to robots, so I'm kind of accidentally joining in on that.
Yeah, dude. I was gonna say that's pretty good timing.
Yeah, it was. I literally realized it when I drew. So I drew that Iron Giant piece that I just did a couple days ago, and I realized with that my next probably 10 drawings are going to be a robot. So I was like, let's do it.
Why not? Hashtag.
Exactly. I love joining in on that kind of stuff too. Because I always love robots. I always follow artists who do March of Robots, and I've never jumped in on it. I was like, dude, I do robots. What am I doing?
I know. I wish it could have worked out. I mean, it can if I just start doing some, but I'm just not doing a project with that right now. But it seems like another fun one. Just a side thing here real quick, just talking about drawing challenges. You know the Inktober box that we got?
Yeah.
Snacks. So when I went to con, that's what I kind of put my comics in and some different, like my artwork, because I was going to do a couple art drops and stuff. And the first panel I went to was supposed to have Spike Trotman and Jason Brubaker. And I was like, oh, I'll do an art drop to get things going this weekend. Oh, I want my thing. Do an art drop and get my notes out to start. So I whip out that Inktober box and I pull out my thing to leave my art drop. And then Jake Parker walks into the thing. And I'm like, who's the inventor of Inktober and stuff? And he walks over and he just kind of points down at my box, which I wasn't thinking about. And he goes, oh, Inktober, cool. And I think my exact words were, yeah.
That's the best.
I went up and said hi again later in his booth, but it just, I mean, like Lucy Bellwood was there too. She walked in, actually, she was replacing Spike Trotman, so I had no idea. And I just like backed a project of hers, because I love what she does. Lucy Bellwood, check her out, everybody.
Well, yeah, what project is she? I kind of follow her, and like definitely not as heavily as the other dudes.
So I like her a lot because I found her on, excuse me, as well as Spike Trotman on Dan Barry's podcast, Make It Then Tell Everybody, which I think is an awesome one because it introduced a person like me who grew up with the big two and still loves all that stuff, but has really been enjoying like branching out into like more comic artsy and indie, and then like even like cool cartoonist stuff, and like appreciating that like idea of the classic cartoonist. And to me, Lucy's very much a cartoonist, like making comics and everything, yeah, but these different projects through like a cartoonist writer's kind of filter. And she kind of bills herself as the adventure cartoonist and has done this book called Baggy Wrinkles, which like documents her time like living on and sailing around on like old 18th century or something sailboats or whatnot. But the project,
I remember hearing about that one too.
Yeah, but the project that kind of got me into it, because I always thought that was cool, but it maybe wasn't quite my bag, was she did this 100 Days project, which are always fun to watch on Instagram, called Demon Dialogue, where she like personified a little demon, which is kind of like that nagging voice in your head. It's always like, you're not good enough to do what you're doing, or this or that. And like did like 100 sort of just, they were like in a square format, so it was cool for Instagram. And just like one a day for 100 days. And they're just like little sort of one image kind of cartoonist images, and they were all like just really cool and witty, and to me had a real fun, whimsical quality to it, like the relationship between Calvin and Hobbes, you know, boy and his imaginary friend, this cool woman and her, you know, emotional baggage, so to speak, or whatever. And it's awesome because it does what cartooning does, where it like you go, oh, I relate to that, you know. It's got that for artists as regular people like. So anyway, I went by to say, hey, I'm one of your backers. She goes, oh, good, here's some stickers. Book's on its way. I was like, awesome. She like made plushie dolls out of the design of.
Oh, that's super cool.
Yeah, man, and it's such a cool design. I don't know. So me with October and everything, really just kind of paying attention to, you know, things like that. And so anyway.
Yeah, dude, plushie dolls at your October would be awesome.
Yeah, dude, I talked to a couple booths here that make custom like stuffed animals and plushies and stuff. So
yeah,
even if it's just to start off, just getting something for my table that can like set there and while people come over, I really want to do that. But anyway.
Yeah, Rao always sets out just like fun little toys and things that aren't even anything to do with his art, and they're great, like just fun conversation stuff.
Yeah, that's one of the things that gave me the idea too. If I could have like that little statue that I got that was made of him, and then like a plushie doll, but I think he just worked pretty well as like a stuffed animal.
Yeah.
But anyway, so besides, I want to get back to you and Planet Comic-Con. It was Planet this time, right?
Yeah, it was Planet.
So, as far as it's all concerned, what were any like parts that you did not enjoy, or was there any? They tried this at the con, or the space was small, or they were obnoxious. Was there any part where you're like, man, this just did not work out for me?
Man, honestly, I don't know if it's because I'm new and I haven't had many experiences, but I always have a great experience with them. I heard this person behind us like reaming into one of the dudes when it was over about her bad experience. But like, I don't know. I don't have high expectations, I guess, but I really don't. It's just one of the, you know how we always used to spot the print farms when we'd go through and stuff.
Yeah.
Of just those dudes who just kind of are basically just like copying other people's art and like stealing them and stuff. Like just noticing a lot more of that, and that gets on my nerves a little bit.
Yeah.
I know we accidentally got Ace kind of passionate about that too because we told him about that.
And he's like, what?
But, yeah. But honestly, I got to a point where I'm over it. Like I'm just gonna keep doing what I love and not let like little things like that bother me.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like things like those, even if they don't right away, they work themselves out and just like keep going. Hey, we got a question here for you that said, on those teeth that you're making, are you gonna keep them pearly white or put like some gnarly plaque and stuff like that on them?
That's hilarious. I actually don't really know. So
I could see when polishing their weapon, but if they're using old decayed stuff,
I kind of like the idea of them being like bloody, maybe then like kind of weird and gross, and like if this has been in battle before, you know, like blood stains. Maybe we'll put some chips or something in them,
and maybe depending on what exactly the biology is of these beings in your world. Would it be blood stains or like motor oil stains?
Ooh, I don't know. There's another good point.
Blotches and washes kind of in between the cavities and crevices.
I like that. So I'm gonna bump it Ace a little bit more here because he just talked about this. Rao did tell me about that. So Comic Den, that's what I keep talking to and keep calling Ace.
Okay.
He had this idea.
I know who that is. I got you. Hey, Comic Den.
He had an idea to be a booth that like authenticates whether or not the booth is a legit artist or whether or not they're like a.
That's cool.
Like just literally like a cool place to go and be like, yeah, dude, blah blah blah, at booth whatever, and like, yep, that guy actually makes his own crap. Go ahead and buy from him.
Just a seal of approval. They come by, you give them the thumbs up or thumbs down, like from Gladiator.
Yeah, basically. You show them the business card, and they're like, pfft.
Yeah, thumbs down.
Thought that was kind of funny.
Dig it.
But you know, it almost feels like cons should. I mean, I bet you saw it at Emerald. Like, do you see that kind of stuff at like bigger con stuff? Like, I feel like you would.
So not really at this out here, like because they actually have. Like, you have to be, like, juried in.
Oh, yeah, I forgot that was one of those.
You know, I think they weed out stuff like that. I mean, you'd see the folks who, they just have, like, you know, the fan art print of, like, everybody. I feel like I see it more when it's the movie art prints, where they're doing, like, candid scenes from the middle of a movie. I feel like what I see a lot is just like the movie scene put into Photoshop and then lines over it.
Yeah.
Judge for yourself, I guess, on that one. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I've really seen a whole lot of, like, that is specifically so-and-so's poster. Especially at Emerald City, they have, like, 1 million people there in the business who would just come over and, like, yeah, that's my friend's artwork. I asked for the cover for that book. Like, get the hell out. Like,
yeah.
They had Chris Claremont there to, you know, new Eisner Award winners on new books. So I feel like at a thing like this, they'd really have people just being like, yeah, that ain't working. But I don't know.
Yeah, that's not. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I forget those bigger ones are like they actually sort of filter in what's coming into the booth.
You know, and I kind of got it from going to it. At first, it's kind of like, oh, it's, you know, Northwest Coast, and they got, you know, being maybe a little elitist, you know, really making you have to work for it, like you got to know somebody. But no, it's just like they have that many people that they really just got to make sure there's none of the book BS. Because one thing I noticed here, man, there were no, like, ugly amateur-looking books. Even the amateurs had, like, beautiful hardbound, beautiful printed, like, everything. Like, sketchbooks were all amazing. There were a few folks that had, like, zine-style stuff. And even those were nicely well done. Like, I know the, you know, Barcode Marauders that I printed before would definitely come off as amateurish and, like, whoa, dude, you need to go back. You know, and I get it. You know,
yeah.
So, you know, for fans and, you know, the people that are like, every table is full. with pretty awesome stuff. Not saying everybody there is famous. There are still obviously people there who, like, I talked, like, yeah, this is my first time here. And they'd have a pretty amazing sketchbook, you know, like just people really up their game on the books. And the prints, I noticed, like the, you know, style of, like, paper that prints were on were a bit more.
So you're saying I got to step it up, right?
Dude, I'm saying I got to step it up. I know that, but I'd say anybody wanting to go out there needs to step it up. But.
Yeah, man, I'm feeling like that's definitely a dream goal here. And I want to get into something like that, where I feel like everyone else around me has got like a quality of something kind of thing, you know, and that I match that quality.
For sure, and that's cool. Still seeing tons of variety and stuff. It's not like everything just homogenized, but
yeah. This is the hard part, man. I got to do hands now. I got to figure out how these hands are going to hold this weapon.
I suggest finger. Just make like Bender style clamps.
That's kind of funny. I like that.
That's a funny aesthetic choice. Like to make like a hyper realism, like robots and cloth on everything, but then the hands all look like Lego hands.
But like really legit, like joints and stuff, like straight claws, but like I really get into it. Pinky out.
All right, so you didn't really have much of a bad time there, but just like those folks faking it through get annoying. But
yeah.
So like, what are some favorite parts? Like we know, obviously, like just talking with folks. Did you have any particular experiences that you're like, that was cool?
Yes, and I'm totally gonna talk about Shay asked what does the mouth look like from the other side, and I literally haven't even thought about that. That's a hilarious comment. Maybe would it be two mouths, or would it be like
the teeth on the other side?
Yeah, like that's an interesting thought right there. I always think of my illustrations from one viewpoint to like work it out, you know. Or like it's a butt on the back.
Just like a bunch of ears, like later.
It's like I really like the idea of just like a straight up butt on the back.
Just like, so like you never mouth, like a big frown. Like if he's happy, he'll put that up to his face to kill you. If he's mad, he'll turn it to the other side or something.
I like the idea of two different expressions.
Yeah.
Like sad face on one, happy face on the other, or something. That's kind of funny. I like this. I'm gonna have to think about this and work this out.
Like if it gives you a happy face, it's a quick death. If it's a sad face, it's slower. I don't know.
Yeah. He decides your fate by the mood his sword is in.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. Okay, yeah. So, I get them every time. I get a dude who is like, "Oh, these are cool. Like, I draw too," and then they like want to know, you know, like what do you use? What'd you use to draw this thing, or that kind of stuff? Or they show me their sketchbook, you know, and like that's one of my favorite things is just being able to give dudes like advice, because like. You know, being the teacher also, I get really stoked when someone's like willing to hear. Then I'm like, yeah, actually, you got some pretty good stuff. But like, do you even like construct your lines before you draw? Because like, you know, like I teach them things about like figuring out your tilt and your midline and all that kind of stuff. And it's just so much fun to like watch people's kind of minds being blown sometimes with like a really simple strategy that they just never knew to use.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
So that's my favorite. And then dudes who I had a dude like this was like the funniest thing. It was like ran over, saw my stuff. Like it was like one of those things where you could tell his buddies were trying to move on, but he really wanted to come over, kind of thing. And it was like, what is this? And it was my Apollo. And I was like, oh, his name's Apollo. It's one of my original characters. I want it. How much? And then he bought it and he ran off. And it was like the funniest, like, dude, that dude was so into it that he just like ran over and was like, wait, I need this. My friends are trying to leave me.
Dude, that's the cool
Who's in it?
Man, that's awesome.
It was super random. Like he didn't see Batman from across the map. You know, he saw me.
Heck yeah, man.
So that was a fun little cheesy experience.
Tapping into something that folks are responding to.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always more satisfying when I end up with something that is my own being the thing that they're stoked about. So that's another. I think that was another thing. Like the funny thing was I'd already decided this was going to be my goal. Like I'm definitely going to spend March drawing more of my own stuff because I don't do enough of that. But it was things like that were like reaffirming of like, yes, I will be productive spending my own time drawing cool stuff this week or this month.
So do you feel strongly that you'd like to like phase out fan art stuff to make way for original stuff, or do you think you're finding a good balance where you're able to have both and it's not as if one is planning on eclipsing the other?
I definitely say balance on both because I still really enjoy drawing character designs and characters that I love because that's what it is. It's like when I'm drawing other people's stuff, it's like I've seen a design in their character that I really love, and I want to like learn the lines almost like wow, that, like what a weird face or mouth or something like that, and then I draw that thing to practice that idea of like what would it look like to draw this, and then put this maybe on my own person or my own character.
That's cool, and I think it's apparent with your fan art too because everything you do is a little bit different. You see a lot, and sometimes it works out well, but you see a lot where it's just sort of like someone has a cool style, and then they just do the same pose on everything just through that style. Like, here's my Superman, here's my Batman, here's my this, here's my that. And they have a huge wall of every character that definitely does seem a bit more coming from a place of so that I can make a sale for that particular fan when they go by. Which for good or bad, but I think when you're doing it, it comes across a little bit more like, oh, here's something I can do to learn from, or because I like this thing, or because, yeah, this is a cool design that I respond to, so I want to draw it, and why not sell it?
Yeah, I mean, I got into that kind of thing because as like a character study thing. Like when I first decided I was going to do this thing and I wanted to maybe make my own comic or my own world and that kind of thing, I was like, I'm going to start by like drawing characters I love and kind of analyzing the lines, and then it turned into like it's so much fun to draw characters, like kind of thing. But
for sure,
yeah, it definitely started as just a huge like sort of character study kind of thing.
And it does help, grab some fans, grab some sales, draw people in to start seeing what else you're working on. But yeah, I don't feel like yours is something that is like you're going to become known as the, whatever guy, or as the poster artist guy. I think people are just responding to your process.
That's cool. I appreciate you saying that kind of thing. I guess there's another point I'll make a short point of, and I'm definitely going to write about when I finally get myself to stop drawing and write something. I notice this a lot, and I don't think it's a bad thing. I'm definitely not saying this like stop doing this, but so I've made my Boy in the Bike comic, and props to anybody who has bought that so far. I basically printed about 50 of them, and I have like less than 5 left up in the studio now to sell the next one. And that's kind of cool to think that I've almost sold 50 of a comic that I've written and drawn.
That is awesome, man.
I have only pitched that comic to maybe 5 or 6 of the people who have bought it. I just get in a sweet conversation about my art, about my style. They buy a print, and then they see the comic and they buy it also, and then they come back and they talk to me about it, and it's awesome. It's kind of like a really cool thing that you made the comment about like the poster art guy. Like, I mean, I am an illustrator. I would definitely say that. Like, I love to build an illustration and like think about the angles that way, and not just like turn this character and make this thing, but I think about this composition, especially this character in this pose kind of thing, And so it's like cool to think that like it's my art, it's my posters, and it's like that thing that I'm selling that brings them in, and then they're like, I love your art, I love your posters. Oh, you made a comic? Sweet, I'll take one.
Yeah, for sure, because you see a lot of those folks. I don't think a lot of people would care much, where they have that huge poster tower and their effect through them all. I don't think anybody would notice.
Yeah, or even like I guess my comment is more like sorry to interrupt you.
No, you're okay.
But like due to only have a comic out on their table. Like they don't have their book. They don't have their book of art. They don't have like they've got like stacks of comics they've made, but they don't have any other like samplings of like their art and their style and like who they are and what they do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I gotcha. That makes good sense. Even if it's just like a bunch of fan art of your own project, or I don't know, a few other things. I see that too.
Exactly.
Like I just want my book, and it's like That's cool. Yeah, just put your own thing. You don't have to have buttons and this and that and a whole bunch of stuff, but like make a couple cool poster prints to hang up.
Yeah. Show your style in all kinds of angles and things. Like, I don't know, I don't see a lot of that. And then I feel like some more of that on some people's tables would just, like, I see some dudes with the coolest comics who just don't, like, it just doesn't seem like they're able to market it or get it out there. And it's kind of like sad. Mm-hmm. It's like, just certain ways to get yourself out there is just do more art, in any shape or form.
Because that's what I've learned. There is no shortage of amazing books. Like,
oh my gosh, yeah.
So you have to figure out all of the business in between to make sure that people want it and want to check it out.
Yeah, I made this comment to Rao. It was like, it just seems like there are dudes who know how to market themselves and their art is decent and they do awesome, and there are dudes who don't know how to market themselves and their art is freaking fantastic and they're not doing well, and that's just like, that's sad.
Yeah.
It kind of kills me.
It's
like
sucks,
the art
but it's a good lesson.
Just can't speak for itself. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
so
like it either.
There's my last little piece of advice in terms of all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Also, I think right now, I'm going to ink this and see what happens, but yes to Weird Mouth Sword. I'm loving this thing.
Heck yeah, dude.
I'm thinking of all these different, like, weapons now, too. Like, thinking of, like, weird gun, and instead of, like, a chamber or something, it's, like, fingers. Or, like...
Oh, like on the magazine coming down?
Yeah, like...
Oh, that's always ribbed.
Think of, like, a revolver, but, like, the part that's, like, right here of the revolver, like, it's like a fingers or, like, a hand, like, grabbing around the top of the revolver, like...
That's awesome.
Or, like, I'm trying to think, like, and, like, eyeballs for sure.
Lots of handles could work out as bones pretty awesomely.
Yeah, like bones or I'm like eyeballs and stuff. You ever played Soul Calibur? But like that, there's like that sweet big giant sword with like the eyeball that like blinks, like things like that. Like, oh my gosh, I've got so many cool ideas going on now.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
Oh my gosh, who said that? Hold on.
What's that?
Shay said, I hope they can pull the teeth out and use them as weapons too.
Ooh.
I'm thinking of a sweet fight between him and someone else where like he uses his sword to block and they like punch a tooth out.
Dude, will they actually be like integrated? That'd be funny so hard. You knocked out my tooth. I'll have like a gold tooth in it, maybe?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love that. It's hilarious.
But like if you integrated that stuff into like the machinery stuff like yet again to where you push a button, like you push a tooth in and it's like a microchip, or it's goes in and unlock, it's a key for something, or you have the eyeballs on something and when they get to this like certain crazy place they actually like are scanning their swords, like using some of those bio things on their weapon, because like no machine has fingerprints, no machine has retinal scans, so they'll have these things embedded in their like armor and and like weapons and stuff for certain, I don't know, computer stuff, because it's easy.
No, I like that.
To use like biometrics to be able to lock their info, because they're all machines, they're all it's like they're all the internet. You can't, how do you hide anything when you're a machine when you're all the same machine, So now they use these different parts as their technology, where humans use all this crazy. Anyway.
No, dude, I love it. That's. I kind of had that thought too. Like, there's some kind of weird, like, the sword won't do anything for anyone else but his owner because he like knows.
Yeah, dude. I like. We need.
Yeah, Ace makes a cool comment too, just like keeping it real low tech and like, what's it go? I'm trying to think of the word I'm thinking of, but yeah, like don't get too crazy about it. Like, since they're all high tech, like maybe their weapons are real, like barbarian like and stuff.
Oh, sure. Even like any technology stuff would almost be like primal, like if you did have anything like this unlocked it, but then rotary gears start turning and it's like a room full of like old 1970s computers, like those giant.
I'm loving this idea of like maybe this guy doesn't even talk and his sword does all his talking for him too, or something weird like that.
Oh, imagine if like the way he's holding it right now, there's a frown, right? And that means he's upset. And then like he walks up to you and you're like, no, it's me. We're friends. And he takes it and spins it around and stabs it in the ground as he kneels. So now the frown is turned into like a smiley face and he's like kneeling right in front of it. And it's like, we're all good. And you're like, cool. That's how we're supposed to know we're okay now? Yeah. He gave us a smile. Look.
I kind of love that. I'm definitely imagining that guy as like a villain.
That's awesome. That'd be cool.
Like,
he does that to kneel before whatever thing that he serves. Like,
yeah, or like
the first time you show
I'm imagining like quiet executioner, like the dude everyone's scared of, and like he doesn't say a word to you. He just comes up and his mouth is like, "Time to die."
Time to die.
Yeah, I was imagining like weird, like creepy, like happily. Yeah. Here comes.
Time to die. You're gonna be so scared. That's awesome, man. I like it. Just a silent henchman who doesn't need to say anything because they just.
Yeah, but he's like the henchman guy though. You know, like he's the leader of the bunch of the evils. Kind of like I think I'm getting something cool here. I think I might just shade out all this and just have these fists like floating up, so it kind of seems like he's holding it like forward like this.
Dig it. So what are any other experiences or takeaways that you can think of that won't ruin your article, but just little... Notice like any other, like besides, besides switching over to all 11 by 14 format, is that what you're going towards?
Yeah, so I draw a 9 by 12 because it's my favorite. It's just such an awesome, like, it's big, but it's not huge. And it's decent, you know, it frames really well. Like, it makes great originals, and I'm all about my originals.
Yeah, it's a nice...
But, it was actually watching Rao and his stuff, like, yeah, just that, when you go 11 by 14, it's just nice to see it bigger.
Sure.
And then, it's like, if I'm gonna make a poster, I might as well go all out.
So then, besides that, are there any other product things or merchandising things that you're wanting to try? Like, I know you've done stickers in the past. Are you wanting to stick with those, or?
I think I'm going to go back to just my black and white stickers. Those are really fun, promotional, like, freebie, just take this out of my hands kind of thing. Like, I like having a thing that when a dude's just a super cool dude, like, and he didn't buy anything, you can just give him something, because you know he wants something, like, you know, he'd be stoked to have something of your art, and so you have, like, that thing to be like, hey, cool, man, well, here's a sticker kind of thing. Because I did those color, like, transparent stickers, and they were way more headache than they were worth.
Like, as far as?
Just how much they cost to make versus how much I got per sticker, like that kind of thing. They didn't really pan out as like a thing worth putting more of my time into.
Okay.
They were really fun, and I have some people who have asked about them, but they're just in terms of what I said, it's like when you have too many products on your table, it just takes away from everything else that you have to show. And
yeah, it does get.
Well, I love my originals, and I love making prints now. I love the coloring kind of thing, and so I'm just down to that. Like, I got my comics, my prints, my originals, and my comics kind of have their place, and they're clearly labeled, and then like my prints and my originals kind of take up the table and bring the people over kind of thing.
I dig that. Anything else you're learning on, like, I'm sorry, I'm probably just asking stuff you're wanting to talk about in your thing. Maybe I should. No,
you're good. I'm in the zone here. I didn't expect to. I picked this up thinking I would barely even doodle on it, but I'm like, I'm making a thing here, so I'm kind of in my zone.
So you talked about standing up and engaging, you know, and kind of decluttering your table and things like that. How about, along with like the decluttering, do you have a banner, or are you moving, or what do you think as far as like your table setup, other than just like the product being simplified? Like,
Yeah, I did not have a banner, and that's definitely a future goal. Like, I guess in terms of was there anything I noticed that I need more of or less of when you asked me? I think you asked me something like that.
yeah.
I saw a couple of dudes who had just a really nice. It was like, so I have my new setup. That's like I got one of those hangy things behind me, kind of things, and my prints hang from that behind me.
Yeah, look good, by the way.
These dudes have, it's like the middle chunk. It's like they get a banner that's like has like a almost PVC pipe looking thing through the middle of it that you can like stick through, like this kind of thing,
Mm-hmm.
And then like that was like the middle chunk, and then their prints were on the left and the right of that. I really enjoyed seeing that. It was like a really nice, like, here's this giant, like, my name and my art kind of thing. And then all the other stuff was like in between it all.
Sounds pretty rad.
So yeah, I definitely want something like that.
Pretty cool.
How about did you like pick up any cool things you saw doing your thing? That's what I'm curious about. Like,
I took tons of pictures, and right now I'm still kind of at the like defrazzling stage or whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing that I kind of picked up on a little bit just from talking with a lot of artists, there's a big culture in like graphic novels specifically, but in hard bound books, and the idea of I love beautiful books, and the people who are buying books love books. Like the whole, like when people were afraid that books were going to go away, it was all going to go digital. Well, that's definitely not happening, and I think it's definitely not going to happen. In fact, it's swinging in an extreme different direction, where everyone's trying to make the most beautiful book ever. So what I kind of see happening after talking with a couple artists is people do their first like a good thing, like it's quality work and everything, but their first most coherent thing that they like, let's say release as an online thing where you do like the page a week for a while until you've got it all done, and so you compile it into a book, whether you run a Kickstarter or whether you just compile it into a book or whatever. But at that point, it's like it's their first big cool thing, and they print a big beautiful hardbound book to celebrate how cool it is, because this is going to be their big book and their big thing. Well, what seems to sort of happen, and this is across the board, just something I was kind of observing, is those people get noticed and they get jobs, and someone goes, hey, I like what you do, why don't you come do a cover for my book, or why don't you come do this project with me over here and everything. And meanwhile, it's a bunch of cons later and their career's going really well, but they're still stuck with all of these books that they had printed when they first like did their first thing, when like still mostly not a whole lot of people knew who they were. And you know that stuff costs a lot of money and everything. I don't know, and then like I don't know, to me, just a little bit of a takeaway is I can make a beautiful book maybe that isn't like a hardbound thing. Like, I want to make pretty books too, but I also don't want to get, like, I want to make a lot of books. I don't want to get stuck with cases of hardbound beautiful books that nobody wants, because there's a billion beautiful books out there. I don't know if that makes sense, but just it seems like people get excited when they do their first big project. I don't know if they think that that's always going to be like, this is going to be my break, and so I've got to make it count. And I'm not suggesting like don't put pride into it when you're doing it, but it seems like maybe people are, and the reason I say this is because one of these people sold me one of these beautiful books for $5. Another person just gave my brother one because they were just trying to get it in people's hands at a show where there's just so much stuff. They have, and it's a great book. And the guy just gave it to my brother and goes, "Look, just take if you like it and you want to pay me, cool. There's a website on there. If not, maybe just give it to somebody else that you think will like it." And that was the only book on his table. So I mean, people are spending a lot of money investing in themselves to make this beautiful product, and it is. But you still have to like distribute it and everything. So whether they're not putting as much effort or knowing how to get it distributed, I think it's just a sign. My takeaway is of a young person being a little bit over enthusiastic, and printing something probably a little bit beyond their means because they really thought it was going to mean this other thing. Where if you keep it a little bit more simple and still make that beautiful thing, it seems like this piece of work will lead to that piece of work, that'll lead to that piece of work. And it seems like a lot of these artists, they start off making their own thing because they're the only person they know making it. And so they make it, and then they get noticed, and they start having their hand in everybody else's pie until they get credibility, where now a publisher is going, okay, we like that sales pitch, go ahead and do your project any way you want. And they've come full circle into doing their own project again. Only now you have the backer of that publisher because you've got all this stuff behind you. So it seems like it's more important to just keep making stuff rather than just make that one thing so big and so beautiful. Because I don't know if that makes sense, I guess. I don't know.
No, it's interesting. I think it makes, so what I'm hearing from it, and I don't know, maybe like you might be on a different page with it, but people jump in to their first ever idea and product to be their, magnum opus, like this thing will make me famous, instead of just like making a bunch of stories, like making a bunch, putting them for free on the internet, getting like floppying it. Just like, if you're going to get it out and give it to free, don't make a giant book out of it. Then post it on your website, get people in, just let them read it, and then collect that thing together after people are into it. It's just, I feel like it's kind of like what I was just talking about. Make some prints, make some art, make some illustrations, and then take that and let people see that.
Yeah, like it seems like there's a way to do it without, because I just, that's
right,
like
hold on.
Bank.
Are we going to go for another hour? Because we have 15 seconds left for this to cut off.
I don't have a whole nother hour in me.
All right, well then let's just say peace out. We're going to record this and try and throw this up on our YouTube channel. We hope it works this time.